Natchez, Mississippi, a great place to make memories. So making memories is something that's important to travel with D&E and hopefully with you and your significant others as well. One of the best ways to make memories is to spend some time exploring the great sights, sounds, and destinations of beautiful and historic towns, both near and far. This is Daryl
And Erin
on Travel with D&E.
One of our favorite cities to spend a long weekend is Natchez, Mississippi. Natchez lies on the southwestern border of Mississippi and is the oldest city on the Mississippi River. With over 1,000 structures listed on the National Register of Historic Places, Natchez takes pride in its preservation efforts.
We stayed at the Choctaw Hall Bed and Breakfast, which was a great place to stay while we explored the historic district of Natchez. It also makes a great jumping off point for short trips into the surrounding areas like Natchez Trace in Port Gibson, Mississippi. Natchez is a great destination for festivals as well.
In fact, we visited a few music festivals in Natchez, like the Mudbug Festival on the Mississippi River Bluff. Unfortunately, that festival was replaced by the Spring Carnival Festival, which is a more family-oriented event. While there, we also explored the historic town and sights and attractions of Natchez and the surrounding areas.
Natchez truly is a great destination with tasty food, great people, tons of history, and it's one of Erin and I's favorite weekend getaway destinations. Let's take a look at some of the fun and historic attractions that Natchez and surrounding areas has to offer. We visited Stanton Hall, and it was only just a short walk from our B&B. Stanton Hall was built between 1851 to 1857 for Frederick Stanton, who was a cotton broker. It was built as a replica of his ancestral home in Ireland. Stanton named it Belfast, but unfortunately, he only lived there for a short time. While he died, the building did survive the American Civil War, and in 1880 was made home to the Stanton College for Young Ladies. In 1940, it was acquired by the Pilgrims Garden Club, which uses it as its headquarters and operates as a museum and event venue. The house was declared a National Historic Landmark in 1974 and a Mississippi Landmark in 1995.
We also visited the Rosalie Mansion and Fort Rosalie, which is a historic pre-Civil War mansion and historic house museum in Natchez. It was built in 1823 and served as an architectural inspiration for many Natchez mansions built in the city. It was a major influence on antebellum architecture. In the greater region during the American Civil War, it also served as a Union headquarters for the Natchez area from July 1863 on, and it was designated a National Historic Landmark in 1989.
This beautiful building called Choctaw Hall was built in 1836. This antebellum home, and now a bed and breakfast, had 4 separate queen bed suites connected by a comfortable living room and 24/7 access to self-serve snacks, light treats, assortment of teas, and of course coffee. The grounds are immaculate and well maintained, as you can see. Guests receive vouchers for a full breakfast at choice of nearby restaurants. Choctaw Hall is located on North Wall Street in downtown Natchez, Mississippi, sitting amongst the historic district within walking distance of most things Natchez.
If you make it to Natchez, you've got to visit a unique part of the town called Under the Hill. 19th century Natchez, in a sense, was a city with a split personality. There was Natchez proper and Natchez improper. Natchez proper was the town on top of the bluff, while Natchez improper was the town landing beneath the bluff on the banks of the Mississippi. Known as Natchez Under the Hill, this area of Natchez was described by numerous 18th century travelers as one of the rowdiest ports of the Mississippi River. Here docked the keelboats and the flatboats, and beginning in 1811, the steamboats. Taverns, gambling halls, and brothels lined the principal street. Nowadays, Under the Hill is a favorite of both locals and visitors to enjoy the shops by the landing with great views of the Mississippi River and bridge connecting Natchez, Mississippi to Vidalia, Louisiana.
The Camp Restaurant, located under the hill next to the mighty Mississippi River, is a great place to stop, eat, and unwind while exploring Natchez. The Camp Restaurant is ranked number 2 for Natchez restaurants in TripAdvisor, so you know it's got to be good. They're renowned for their burgers and sandwiches and also have one of the greatest selection of draft beer in the entire city. It's just a great place to share cocktail, beer, and food with friends and family.
Next to the Camp Restaurant is the lovable and fun Under the Hill Saloon. Here you'll find the beverage of your choice, live music, free wireless internet, and a hint of history in that location, Under the Hill. Check out the views of the Mississippi River along with back rooms for relaxing and visiting with family and friends, while also playing a game of foosball and darts. If you go under the hill, you've got to stop by Under the Hill Saloon.
With my head hung down and cried.
So this beautiful place of worship is the St. Mary's Basilica. St. Mary's Basilica is recognized as an architectural masterpiece among Catholic churches in the South. The construction of this place of worship was began in 1842 as a cathedral of Our Lady Sorrows, a status she maintained until the diocese headquarters was transferred from Natchez to Jackson, Mississippi in 1977. The Pope designated St. Mary's as a minor basilica in 1998. It is today the spiritual home of a vibrant Catholic community who welcomes visitors from near and far. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful old Catholic church.
We went on a little walking tour after we ate breakfast. We enjoyed seeing the buildings that are scattered all through the historic district of Natchez. Look at this old building. Wow, the columns are massive. I bet this old beauty has some great stories to tell. Wouldn't you like to know? The streets are lined with beautiful trees, including these oaks and magnificent magnolia tree. And here is the evergreen. It was built by Peter Baker in 1834 to fend or forfeit. Across the street is the King's Tavern. It's the oldest building in Natchez, standing before 1789, which was operated as a tavern, stage top, and a mail station at the end of the Natchez Trace. It is now owned and has been restored by the Pilgrimage Garden Club of Natchez. This part of the Natchez Trace is the intersection of Jefferson and North Union. Over there is the old Jefferson Street Methodist Church, which was built in 1872. Our next point of interest is the Rising Sun Bed and Breakfast. We stayed there for the first Mudbug Festival, built circa 1890 and listed in the National Historic Register. Here's the beautiful Myrtle Terrace House, which is also a bed and breakfast, built circa 1844 and also in the National Register of Historic Places. You can also book a horse carriage tour on your trip to Natchez.
Natchez is an absolutely great place for festivals. We attended the Mudbug Festival for the last couple of years on the Mississippi River Bluff. We brought some chairs and relaxed while listening to some great live music and did some people watching, and that's always fun. Unfortunately, the Mudbug Festival has been discontinued, and they're going to replace it with the Spring Carnival, which is a more family-focused festival, but I expect it to be top-notch as well. This is Willie Nelson's son, Lucas Nelson, and wow, he sure played a mean guitar, and the group overall was fantastic. If you get a chance to see him, make sure you go. He was great. So this is Cody Jinks, and you know he was going to be excellent, which he was. We always enjoy Natchez festivals and may have to attend the annual Hot Air Balloon Festival later on in the year. I think it's in October. We heard that was a lot of fun, so we want to check that out, that festival too.
Running till all of the ages. This could take all night. A bad attitude from being tired of running around. I never asked for anyone to say they like my sound, but you guys keep coming back. Raising hell with the hippies and the cowboys.
Across the street from the Mudbug Festival is the Natchez Brewery. Besides great beer, they serve small bites, salads, franks and brats, pizza, calzones, and desserts. It was nice with our bracelet being able to come in and out of the festival and running over and getting a quick beer and a bite.
This is the Natchez City Cemetery, a really cool place. The cemetery was established in 1822 on the bluff high above the Mississippi River. This historic cemetery is one of the most beautiful in the South and is steeped in history, as you can tell by the headstones. The cemetery holds elaborate metal fenceworks, elaborate tombstones, and mausoleums. And the stories are interesting from the cemetery. One such story includes the story of Florence Irene Ford, She died of yellow fever back when she was 10 years old, but while alive, she was extremely afraid of the storms, and she would go to her mother to find comfort. Upon her death, her mother was so struck with grief that she had Florence's casket constructed with a glass window at the child's head. The grave was dug to provide an area the same depth of the coffin at the child's head, but this area had steps that would allow the mother to descend to her daughter's level so she could comfort Florence during storms. In this picture, you see the trap doors beneath little Florence's tombstone, which covers the stairway her mother used. That can be opened today. In the mid-1950s, a concrete wall was erected at the bottom of the stairway, covering the glass window of Florence's coffin to prevent vandalism. Look, definitely worth a drive to go through if you're in the area. We've been every time we stayed in Natchez and enjoy it each and every time. Next up is the Natchez National Cemetery. The government purchased 11 acres in 1866 near the city cemetery to establish the Natchez National Cemetery. Remains are brought here from elsewhere in the city in sites in both Mississippi and Louisiana. By the 1870s, remains of 3,085 soldiers were entered into the cemetery. The identities of only 305 were actually known. As you can tell from the footage, there's many headstones for the unknown soldiers. It's a strikingly beautiful national cemetery. So without saying anything else, let us honor our soldiers here that are interred in the Natchez National Cemetery.
Natchez is a great jumping off place for some short trips to surrounding areas. One such trip is a visit to a couple locations on the Natchez Trace, plus Emerald Mound historical site just off the trace. Mount Locust, the first one, was constructed around 1780. It was both a working plantation and inn, where travelers on the Natchez Trace would rest for the night. Mount Locust remains as the only one of more than 50 inns that existed between 1785 and 1830 along the 500-mile Natchez Trace Trail. We also made a quick stop at Lowest Bluff on the Natchez Trace Parkway. This shows how the Mississippi River bluffs were formed. Off of the Natchez Trace Parkway is the Emerald Mound Historical Site. It's the second largest Mississippian period ceremonial mound in the United States. It was built and used in the years 1200 to 1730. Check the description below for a link for a more detailed video covering the half-day trip.
Another great half-day trip from Natchez is to visit Port Gibson, the Grand Gulf Military Park, and the ghost town of Rodney, Mississippi. So Port Gibson has a ton of history. They were involved in the Civil War and standing up for civil rights in Mississippi. We then explored the Grand Gulf Military State Park, where a huge battle occurred, the fight over Vicksburg in the Civil War. Next up, we went exploring to find the ghost town of Rodney, Mississippi. In the process, we ended up passing through Alcorn State, which was a beautiful campus. This was a great time exploring the history of Port Gibson and surrounding areas. Take a look at the description down below, because I do have a link to a video that goes into a lot more detail on this particular half-day excursion.
We decided to make a quick trip over into Vidalia, Louisiana, across the Mississippi River via the Mississippi River Bridge. Our destination was 1827 Spirits, which is a distillery in Vidalia, Louisiana. 1827 Spirits in Vidalia is the first legal distillery in Concordia Parish in more than 100 years. 1827 Spirits received the Louisiana Department of Agriculture Certified Louisiana Product designation in October 2021, recognizing Bayou state-made, grown, processed, or manufactured products. When you visit 1827 Spirits, you can rest assured you'll have an authentic Louisiana experience. The distillery's namesake comes from a local tale that involves Jim Bowie of the Battle of the Alamo fame witnessed a duel that escalated into a massive brawl near Vidalia, September 18, 1827. Legend has it that Jim Bowie, although shot and stabbed, was able to calm the dispute. Visit 1827 Spirits and help support a Louisiana local product.
Natchez is absolutely a great place to visit, a great jumping off point to go and take a look at the surrounding areas as well. Take a look at the accompanying videos that covers the Natchez Trace and Emerald Mound, along with Port Gibson, the Grand Gulf Military Park, along with the ghost town of Rodney. Erin and I remind you to make memories now with family and friends. And as always, we will see you on the next video.